Northern Nigeria is facing a deepening security crisis. Communities across Zamfara, Borno, Kaduna, Katsina, and Niger states are being torn apart by bandit attacks, mass kidnappings, and Boko Haram violence. Now, highways have become deadly, farmers are abandoning their fields, and schools remain shut. Despite huge security budgets, the violence continues. A coalition of northern leaders, the Northern Ethnic Nationality Forum, say the region's security system has failed and is calling for a state of emergency. The dismissal of service chiefs and a major cabinet shakeup. Critics say some northern leaders are retreating from their responsibilities, staying silent, or making vague calls for dialogue with terrorists instead of taking decisive action. Now, analysts warn that this leadership gap could destabilize Nigeria as a whole. President Bola Tinubu has also launched economic reforms, but many argue these gains are being eroded by worsening insecurity. So without stronger leadership and investment in agriculture, infrastructure, and social support, there are fears the North could slide further into chaos. Now, joining us is security analyst Jonathan Onoja for a discussion on the disturbing utterances and alleged abdication of responsibilities by some northern leaders as insecurity ravages the zone. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Onoja. You see, the insecurity situation across Nigeria is incredibly depressing.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It's incredibly depressing because even speaking as a journalist, I cannot tell you how exhausting it can be having to report these stories every other week. And then we get the very vague dialogue conversation, or we're going to make sure we bring these people to book. We've been hearing this for weeks. Now, as a security analyst, how would you assess, the readiness and the willingness to tackle insecurity, specifically in the north? We just saw Zamfara, the kidnappings that happened, 40 worshippers kidnapped. And I'm pretty much sure that we will see even more of these events as we've seen in the last week. So the willingness and the readiness to tackle insecurity in the north, how would you assess that?
All right, first, let me send my heartfelt condolence to the families of the victims of the abducted 40 persons in Gidan Tobe of Tsafe Local Government area of Zamfara State this morning. It's quite disturbing and depressing at the same time because from my assessment, I think it's a gross administrative ineptitude of some of the people we call governors. Those we've elected into office to manage the affairs and the safety and security of our people. Unfortunately, these same governors have now decided to shift the goalposts to the federal government. And that also have shown the level of the gross administrative ineptitude from the state governors. Otherwise, these are state governors that comes to the federal capital territory on a monthly basis to receive what we call security votes. These security votes are not utilized for the purpose of security, and they continue to give excuses that they don't have the capacity, they don't have the security architecture to manage the state, yet they come to federal capital territory to collect security votes. I give you an instance. Just weeks ago, I saw a very disgusting video of a state governor, that is Governor La of Zamfara State, saying that he knows the whereabouts of bandits in his state. You know the whereabouts of bandits in your state, and unfortunately, up to this very moment, he has not been able to produce them. And civil society groups, the Situation Room Against the Wall of Banditry, came back, and I think they reminded us some months ago and told Nigerians that the bandits in Zamfara State are there in the Zamfara State government house. So the confession of the governor recently has also brought up the situations that Nigerians should also begin to expect that some of these governors are not, our hands are not clean. And that's why insecurity have ravaged the northern Nigerians for too long. If you recall the statement of the former governor of Kaduna State, Nasiru El-Rufai, where he said there was a national policy from the Office of the State Security, National Security Advisor, and that they were going to be distributing foods. They were distributing foods to bandits. So when you begin to hear things like that, and there are no proper interrogations, investigations into this matter, how do you now expect to have a halt on the kidnappings, banditries, and a whole lot of that. So I begin to suspect that most of these governors are even the worst of insecurity in the state. And when a governor makes certain statement, I think ordinarily there should be proper investigation, and there should be, if you feel you don't have the capacity to manage your state at this point as a chief security officer, you should give the federal government a chance, maybe 3 months or 6 months, to enable them, police the state, use the same security votes that they have been giving you over the years to see how they can bring and restore peace into, in your state. Then when that normalcy is restored, you will see the difference. If you don't have the capacity, or if you have the capacity, you will know at that time. Unfortunately, some of these state governors will still continue to go around even in 2027, 2026, into 2027, to campaign and then use security as a bait that they're going to provide security. Because I remember in the case of the same Lawa, the Zamfara state governor, he used these issues of insecurity in Zamfara, and all that his predecessors done in that time, it was condemned. And that was why we begin to experience a whole lot of insecurity in Zamfara. Borno is a little bit subsided, and then if you notice, coming to the North Central, we have a little bit balanced situations in Kaduna. Even in Niger State now, we have a little bit of control. But where we have issues is like in Benue and also Plateau, and at the same time in Kogi State. The Kogi State issue, I think, is a little bit managed because I think the governor is able to use certain measures to control the state. But where you begin to have governors always crying to the Abuja, always crying to Mr. President, and using this insecurity as a way to begin to receive funds from other international donors, it makes it look like it's a business, as one of the state, federal lawmaker have once told us that insecurity is a cash cow business. Otherwise, we have governors that chair state executive meetings. They do all that they wanted when it is time for elections, but unfortunately, they begin to cry to the federal government and begin to change the goalposts when it has to do with about governance and securing the lives and properties of their citizens. So I think they forget the responsibility that government is from the federal, the state, and also to the local government. They talk about issues of security architectures, that they need to decentralize this whole of these things. But they forget that these same police are the same police that they have in the state. There's the same police that is in Abuja. All they need to do is to channel the resources that they are having. If they're not using that same resources to fuel insecurity, because that is what is glaring now, that with the confirmation and the confession of Verify and the confirmation of Dauda La of Zamfara State, it shows that if you know the whereabouts of the bandit, it shouldn't have cost you so much time for you to have said, gentlemen, let's come on board and let's end the security in my state. This is where these guys are. If you are not having any ties with them, either your past or present, if you don't have any ties with them, you should be able to coordinate the security architecture in the state to bring to halt the activities of these guys. If you think it is just basically about banditry and all of that. So I think we should begin to hold the state government account to what we are supposed to have at the moment, because ordinarily we don't have security in the state at the state level. And Mr. President cannot be everywhere. It is a division of labor. But most of these state governors, what I'm going to advise is that going forward is that a state governor who cannot utilize the security vote to manage the security of his state should at least revert back to the federal government and said, no need for security votes, because I don't have capacity over the state police. I don't have capacity over the army in the state. I don't have capacity over the DSS in the state.
I like that you brought that up.
Come again, please.
I like that you brought up the issue of the reliance, the state's reliance on federally commanded forces. There's a limitation to what they can do. There's a limit to what they can do in terms of giving an actual command to salvage these issues. Now, looking at the reality of what is going on, like I said, just yesterday, we were just speaking about 40 human beings with a life. We always see the pictures of those girls, who managed to escape from Boko Haram and how their lives have flourished. They would always put up, just a reminder of what their life is now and the gratitude that they have for being able to have left Nigeria at the time that they did. Now, these 40 people who were kidnapped yesterday, who knows what will happen to them? Let's also assess the number of people who have died aimlessly. Some of them, we don't even know their names. They're not even given proper funerals. And the list continues to add up. Nigerian lives that just go down the drain. Looking at the reality, I understand you saying what you would advise, the governors moving forward. You're a security analyst, Dr. Onoja. What does moving forward look like? I mean, you've been a security analyst for a while, I imagine. How can we be advising them on what to do today when this is an issue that has been going on even before the administration came in and did speak about security as one of the major issues that they will tackle? All we see is campaigning, but we do not see actual results. So when you say you would want to advise them, what does that even mean?
Okay, first, with respect to the 40 people that have been kidnapped or abducted in Zamfara state, I think Nigerians shouldn't bother, because for a governor who have told you that he knows the whereabouts of the bandit, I'm sure it's going to be a very pretty move for him to go to them, negotiate with them as usual, and then discuss the terms with them and get his people back. So already he knows where these people are kidnapped and taken to, because he knows the whereabouts of the bandit. So Nigerians shouldn't even bother, because at this point, if you know where they are, then you should be able to get to that place and bring them out and present them to the people back. So talking about advice to the families or advice to the governors at this point, yes, we agree that yes, our over-centralized security architecture is the problem. But then we cannot continue to, hamper on that so much when the things that ought to be done are not being done. Now, with the creation of the agitation for the creation of state police, even though I have differs that yes, Nigeria is not ripe for state police, because already our current structure, the current Nigerian police, with some of the issues that we have, the distrust issues and the rascalities and brutalities of the police force, currently we need to carry out some of those reforms before we can talk about state policing, because at this point there's an issue of distrust. Nigerians does not trust the people. And then we talk about state police that is going to also have an area of what we call community policing. What is now the community policing, like I've argued, is the community versus the police. So when there is no trust from the community to the police, how will there be that effective community policing? When there will be no free flow of information, they tell that bail is free. Is that bail free? No. So we have a lot of issues that we need to talk about state policing, which the governors are looking at. But at the moment, I think what we need to do as the state governors is to allow the federal government manage the situation of the state police, the state security. And we should not be giving the state governors security votes anymore, because they have over time argued that they don't have commands with respect to commanding the security architectures in the state. So why would they now continue to, because collecting that money is an indictment on their part. That is the area I want them to look at it from. You will not begin to go and collect money for something you know you are not going to do. You are not different from a contractor who agrees to do a road, to construct a road, collect the money and refuse to do that. So if you agree that you are taking security votes, and the purpose for this security vote is to mobilize the security in the state, ensure that there's, proper gadgets that is supposed to be in the state to mitigate some of those challenges. How many of these governors have been able to utilize their security votes effectively to even build police stations when we have philanthropists, other individuals that are contributing to the safety of their communities? How many of these governors have even been able to say, gentlemen, let's have the police stations here? If this is a forest, why can't we see a way to even build a forest, make it look like a housing for our security personnel, a housing scheme for our security personnel, and then make it look like you are taking, responsibilities of the safety and property of the people, with creating more opportunities for our personnel to take charge. How many of our police, of our governors, been able to digitalize state, be able to digitalize the state in terms of technologies that was going to be that will be able to aid security in the state?
Dr. Onoja, if I may just
are able to procure 2 or 3 vehicles.
Dr. Onoja,
they're receiving.
Dr. Onoja, if I may, I hear you on these vehicles and your point on the security votes versus, the state policing. Consider that this is a reality now, because I hear you, but I would like us to really focus on what is the current reality. Looking at other countries, some people have said it's about time Nigerians begin to protect themselves. What's your assessment of this? Do you think that we're slowly driving Nigerians to a point where they will feel the need to claim their own protection for themselves, as opposed to the reliance that there is on, be it the federal government vis-a-vis the state government, or the state government through the federal government? Briefly.
Well, that is a very fantastic question, and I also believe that some Nigerians are already doing that, just that they have not been recognized in various communities where there are theft, where there are where there are issues of crimes and then banditry. The communities, the leaders, the youth, on their own have come up with a concept of what we call neighborhood watch. You understand? They have come up with this concept. They do that, protect themselves, protect the community. And then I think in some communities, they have also agreed that, farming is now like in groups where you have to go, this group will go, some individuals will go around the youth, we go protect them, and then other individuals will go, and then the youth also will team up to go and protect them. But that will not be sustained because they are not under the payroll of any institution. The government does not even recognize them. And so the only agreed structure that can work effectively at the moment is the community-based approach. And that is to say that the states, like they're already creating a regional security outfit, this time around will not be a compensation of their thugs who assisted them in the last election to win and all of that. This time around, they should be true to the cause to identify those that are, true, to the safety of the people, because in each community you have an ex-discharged person, you have a former police officer, you have a former director of DSS and all of that. If these people can team up to carry out a background check on the various youth that can be integrated into the neighborhood approach, it will help than the open-ended recruitment of states regional security that will not even help. So communities will take.
Yeah, I think you have a point. The communities can do a lot of work. But of course, these are ongoing conversations, and we will not stop talking about these issues until we get to a reasonable point with regards to our security apparatus in Nigeria. Thank you so much, Dr. Onoja, for your time on Newsday.